When exactly is the right time to start talking about sex ed with your child? That question can freeze any parent in a panic. I remember staring at my child's innocent question about how babies were made, thinking, do I answer this or distract them with a snack? We've all been there. And as a nurse, sex educator, and an autistic mum of two, I've seen that moment play out hundreds of times. Parents waiting for the right age, hoping curiosity will strike, and then realizing too late that it never does. The truth? Waiting for the right age is a trap, especially for autistic and ADHD kids. Their development doesn't always follow a calendar, and the world won't always wait for readiness. We live in a sexualized world. Kids are already learning from media, peers, and the internet, whether we like it or not. So instead of waiting until they're old enough, it's about recognizing the signs of readiness and getting in first. So let's bust the biggest myth about timing. Parents often believe that age based timelines will guide them. But what if I told you that development doesn't always obey birthdays? I've met tweens who have had sex ed lessons at school, but they still don't fully understand what's private or why. And little ones who've already been exposed to online porn. That's what happens when we rely on birthdays instead of awareness. One mum I spoke to, she waited because her daughter had never asked questions. And then one day, that same daughter came home upset after hearing how babies were made from a classmate. And that's when it hit that parent that she'd been waiting for curiosity, but it never came. The truth is, sex ed isn't about when they're ready. It's about keeping them safe and helping them understand before confusion or misinformation sets in. So, if we're not relying on age, what should we be looking for instead? You might be wondering, how do I know when my child's ready? What if they never ask? So, here's three clear green lights you can use. Curiosity. They start asking questions about bodies, babies, or relationships. Awareness. They notice privacy, body differences, or start using words like that's private. And independence. They're managing hygiene, they're closing doors, or they're using devices on their own. When any of these things happen, it's time to start the conversation. It's not a test, it's an invitation to talk. And if you're thinking, but what if I start too soon? Here's the thing. When my son was 5, I talked about where babies grow. I worried it was a bit too early, but a week later, when we were watching a TV show that showed a pregnant belly, he calmly said, that's where babies grow. No shock, no confusion, just understanding. So starting early makes it normal. Waiting makes it awkward. But what if your child hasn't shown any of these signs yet? Let's explore what that means. Many autistic kids, they're curious. They just don't always know how to ask. It's like expecting a child to understand electricity before warning them not to touch the power socket. I once noticed my son quietly paging through a human body book, and he lingered on those reproductive diagrams. Never said a word, but that was his version of asking. So I joined him and explained what he was already looking at. So if your child isn't asking, that's your cue to gently lead. Use picture books, posters, or just simple naming of body parts. You're not pushing, you're protecting. So how do you actually decide when to take action? Ready for something that makes timing clearer? Think of this as the autistic algorithm for sex ed timing. Step 1, observe. Watch for curiosity, privacy, or independence cues. Step 2, anticipate. Look ahead. Puberty. Are they going to be having their own device soon? Are their friends using social media? Step 3, act early. Start a small factual chat before confusion or misinformation sets in. It's the same logic we use for safety skills. We teach road safety before they cross the street alone. Sex ed works the same way. Proactive, calm, and protective. You'll never know the perfect day, but you'll always recognize the signs. Starting earlier makes a conversation easier, calmer, and safer. And if this hit home and you're wondering what good sex ed really does look like, the kind that builds confidence instead of shame, click the video on the screen and I'll show you how to spot the difference.